Madam Ella.
Hello.
What are wrong this time?
Nothing.
Then why did you bring it?
I just wanted to check something.
Yeah. Check what?
I don't know yet.
Honestly, why do you keep coming here?
Because I enjoy talking to you.
I've been hearing about you. Sir, I don't know what you've heard, but I didn't ask you to explain.
Daddy, please.
How long has this been going on? Nothing is going on. Then why are you here every other day? Are you trying to get close to my daughter because of what she has? Stay away from my daughter. I don't want to see you with her again.
What would you do if your daughter fell in love with a man you believed was beneath your family? Would you accept him or do everything you could to stop them? Watch this story to the end because the lesson is stronger than you thought.
At 23, Dike had almost everything money could buy. But there were some evenings when her father's mansion in Enugu felt bigger than it needed to be. Her bedroom alone was larger than the first apartment her father had lived in before becoming wealthy. She had expensive clothes, a new phone every few years, a beautiful car, and everything else a young woman could reasonably ask for. But one thing was always missing: her father. Christover Dike was a successful businessman, and his phone seemed to ring more often than Ella heard his voice. That evening, she came downstairs and found him at the dining table with his laptop open. "Daddy, are you eating?" Christover looked up briefly. "Yes, I'm fine." Ella pulled out a chair. "I wanted to tell you something." "Give me 5 minutes, Ella." She waited. 5 minutes became 15. Then Christover's phone rang. He stood up immediately. "Hello? Yes, I'm listening." Ella watched him walk away while talking about a business deal. She quietly pushed her chair back. "Good night, Daddy." He didn't hear her. The next afternoon, Ella had a problem with her car. The dashboard warning light had come on, and although her driver suggested taking it to the family's usual service center, Ella decided to go somewhere else. She drove herself to a busy mechanic workshop on the outskirts of Enugu. While waiting for someone to look at the car, she heard a woman's angry voice. "What kind of nonsense is this?" Ella turned. A well-dressed woman stood beside a black SUV while a young mechanic worked near the front of the vehicle. Michael was in his work clothes, his hands stained with grease.
I brought this car here hours ago.
Yeah.
You people said it would be ready quickly.
Madam, I understand. But when we opened it, we discovered another problem. I'm trying to fix it properly so you won't have to bring it back tomorrow.
Look.
The woman laughed bitterly. "Look at you explaining things to me." Michael said nothing. She looked around the workshop and shook her head.
Honestly, I don't even know why I brought my car to a place like this.
Ella stopped listening to the conversation around her. The woman continued. "You have been under that car for almost an hour and you still haven't fixed it. Is this how you people work?" "Madam, I'm already working on it. Don't talk back at me." Michael lowered his eyes to the vehicle. The woman stepped closer. "You mechanics always behave as if you know everything. Look at your clothes. Look at your hands. Everything about this place is dirty, yet you expect people to trust you with expensive cars." Ella frowned. That was unnecessary. Michael could have answered her. He could have reminded her that she was the one who brought the car there. Instead, he simply said, "Give me a few more minutes, ma." The woman scoffed. "You know what? Just finish it. I don't have time to stand here arguing with somebody like you." She entered her car and drove away. Ella watched Michael return to work as though nothing had happened. A few minutes later, he approached her. "Madam, are you the owner of that car?" Ella smiled. "Yes." Michael looked at the vehicle. "Then we have a problem." Ella's eyes widened. "What problem?" "The problem is that I don't know what's wrong with it yet." She stared at him. Then Michael smiled. "I'm joking. Let me check it first." Ella laughed before she could stop herself. For some reason, she felt comfortable around him. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know her father. He wasn't trying to impress her. He simply treated her like another customer. After checking the car, Michael explained what needed to be repaired and gave her a reasonable price. Ella paid and drove home. But when she entered the mansion, the same silence greeted her. Christopher wasn't home yet. His secretary called to say he would be late. Ella went upstairs, changed her clothes, and sat on her bed. For some reason, she remembered the mechanic. The following week, she returned to the workshop. Michael looked up from the engine he was repairing. Madame Ella. She smiled.
Hello.
What are wrong this time?
Nothing.
Then why did you bring it?
I just wanted to check something.
Yeah. Check what?
I don't know yet.
That was how it started. Sometimes Ella came with her car. Sometimes there was nothing wrong with it at all. She would sit nearby while Michael worked, and their conversations slowly became longer. She talked, he listened. He joked, she laughed. And for the first time in a long time, Ella didn't feel like someone's lonely daughter waiting for her father to finish a meeting. One afternoon, Michael finally looked at her and asked,
Honestly, why do you keep coming here?
Because I enjoy talking to you.
Michael became quiet. He understood the difference between their worlds. She was a billionaire's daughter. He was a mechanic, and he knew very well that friendships could become complicated when money stood between two people. Still, as Ella walked toward her car that afternoon, Michael watched her leave. He couldn't understand one thing. Why did a girl who had everything look happier at his small mechanic workshop than she ever seemed to be at home? By the following week, Ella had become a familiar face at Michael's workshop. At first, Michael thought the visits were about her car. Then he realized they weren't. One afternoon, Ella arrived carrying a food container. Michael looked at it and frowned. What is that? Food. For who? For you. Michael laughed. You brought food to a mechanic. You've been working since morning. And how did you know? Ella shrugged. I noticed. Michael shook his head. You're different. Ella smiled. Is that a bad thing? I didn't say that. She sat on an old plastic chair nearby while he continued walking. Sometimes they talked for almost an hour. Other times, Ella simply watched him work. She liked how focused he became whenever he was repairing a vehicle. He could be covered in grease, sweating under the afternoon heat, yet he never complained about the work. One day, Ella asked him,
Have you always wanted to be a mechanic?
No.
What did you want to become?
A lot of things.
Like?
A businessman. An engineer.
Maybe even a pilot.
So why are you here? Life happened.
He didn't explain further. Ella noticed the change in his voice and didn't push him. Instead, she told him about herself. She spoke about her mother, whom she had lost when she was younger. She told him that her father had worked hard to give her everything after that. But sometimes, she said quietly, I wish he would just sit down and talk to me. Michael looked at her. He loves you. I know. Then maybe he's just busy. He's always busy. She smiled, but there was sadness behind it. I can call him 10 times, and he will answer eventually. But sometimes I don't want him to answer because I'm his daughter. I just want him to answer because he wants to hear my voice. Michael didn't know what to say, so he simply listened. That became one of the things Ella liked most about him. He didn't try to solve everything. He listened. As the weeks passed, something between them quietly changed. Ella started looking forward to seeing him. She noticed the way he smiled when she saw her car. She noticed how he always made space for her even when the workshop was busy. And one evening, while driving home, she caught herself smiling for no reason. She knew exactly why. She liked Michael. More than she should.
Michael was beginning to feel the same way, but he refused to say it. One afternoon, Ella brought him lunch and sat beside him while he repaired a customer's vehicle. Michael suddenly stopped working. Ella, yes? You shouldn't come here this often. She looked at him. Why? Because people will talk. Let them talk. It's not that simple. Ella became quiet. Michael wiped his hands. You are Christover Dike's daughter. I'm a mechanic. Look around you. Ella looked around the small workshop. I don't care. You might not care now. He looked directly at her. But your father might. Ella smiled faintly. You haven't even met him. I don't need to. That evening, Ella returned home and found her father's car already parked outside. Christopher was home earlier than usual. She walked into the sitting room. "Daddy, where have you been?" Ella hesitated. "Out." Christopher looked at her. "With your car?" "Yes." He nodded and returned to his phone. He didn't ask another question, but something about Ella's answer stayed in his mind. The next day, Christopher asked one of his assistants about the places Ella had been visiting. At first, he was told nothing unusual. Then the assistant mentioned that Ella had been spending time at a mechanic workshop. Christopher frowned. "A mechanic workshop?" "Yes, sir." He said nothing, but he decided to find out for himself. 2 days later, while heading to a meeting across Enugu, Christopher's convoy passed the same road. Then he saw her. Ella was standing beside Michael, laughing. Christopher immediately told his driver to stop. He watched for a few seconds. Ella looked happier than she had looked at home in months. But instead of making Christopher happy, it made him angry. He stepped out of the vehicle. "Ella!" Her smile disappeared. "Daddy?" Michael straightened immediately. Christopher looked at him from head to toe. "So you're Michael?" Michael nodded respectfully. "Yes, sir." Christopher's expression hardened. "I've been hearing about you." Michael remained calm. "Sir, I don't know what you've heard, but I didn't ask you to explain." Ella stepped forward. "Daddy, please." Christopher turned to her. "How long has this been going on?" "Nothing is going on." "Then why are you here every other day?" Ella opened her mouth, but Christopher turned back to Michael. "Are you trying to get close to my daughter because of what she has?" Michael's face changed. "No, sir." "Then what do you want?" "Nothing from her." Christopher laughed coldly. "Nothing?" Michael nodded. "I have never asked Ella for money. I've never asked her for anything." Ella immediately said, "Daddy, he is telling you the truth." Christopher turned sharply. "Get into the car." "Daddy..." "Ella, get into the car." She reluctantly walked toward the vehicle. Christopher looked at Michael one last time. "Stay away from my daughter." Michael said nothing. Christopher stepped closer. "I don't want to see you with her again." Then he turned and entered the car. As the vehicle drove away, Ella looked back through the window. Michael remained standing beside his workshop. That evening, Michael made a difficult decision. He stopped answering Ella's calls. When she returned to the workshop the following day, he wasn't there. She waited. When he finally arrived, she confronted him. "Why are you avoiding me?" Michael sighed. "Ella, your father has made himself clear." "I don't care." "I do." She stared at him. "I don't want trouble with your family." "You're not doing anything wrong." Michael lowered his voice. "Maybe, but I'm the one who will suffer if things go bad." Ella didn't have an answer. She simply looked at him. "I don't want to lose you." Michael looked away. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Eventually, Ella left, but she didn't give up. They began communicating quietly, careful not to attract attention. Michael knew they were taking a risk. Ella knew it too, but neither was ready to walk away. And somewhere in Christover's world, the truth was beginning to reach him again. Ella had not stopped seeing Michael. This time, Christover was no longer thinking about warnings. He was thinking about how to make the relationship end. Michael had barely opened the workshop that morning when 2 police officers walked in. He looked up from the engine he was working on. "Good morning, officers." One of them stepped forward. "Are you Michael?" "Yes." "Please come with us." Michael frowned. "Why?" The officer showed him a document. "You have been accused of repeatedly contacting and disturbing a young woman after being warned to stay away from her." Michael immediately understood. "Ella?" The officer didn't answer directly. Michael looked around the workshop. "Officer, I haven't harassed anybody. Ella is the one who comes here. I've never forced her to see me. We'll discuss that at the station." Michael stood there for a moment, trying to understand how a simple friendship had become this serious. Then he followed them. By the time Ella heard what had happened, Michael was already gone. She called her father. No answer. She called again. Still nothing. She rushed home. Christopher was in his study when she entered. "Daddy?" He looked up. "Where is Michael?" Christopher didn't respond. "Daddy, where is he?" "You need to calm down." "Did you have him arrested?" Christopher stood. "I warned him." "He didn't do anything. I told him to stay away from you. And because he didn't listen, you arrested him? I am protecting you. Ella stared at him. Protecting me from what? From making a mistake that will affect the rest of your life. You don't even know him. I know enough. No, Daddy, you don't. Christover's voice became firmer. Ella, you are my daughter. I will not sit back and watch some mechanic take advantage of you. Ella's eyes filled with tears. Take advantage of me? Yes. You think that's what he wants? I don't know what he wants. He doesn't want your money. Christover became quiet. Ella wiped her face. He has never asked me for anything, not once. Ella? No, Daddy, let me talk. Her voice shook now. You always say you are doing everything for me. You buy me cars, you buy me clothes, you send me on vacations. If I want something, you pay for it. Christover looked away. But when I needed you, where were you? He slowly looked back at her. Ella continued. When Mom died, I needed you. Christover's face changed. I was a child, Daddy. I didn't understand what was happening. I just wanted my father. She swallowed hard. But you were busy. That isn't fair. It is true. Christover had no answer. Ella's tears fell freely. You were always working, always traveling, always in meetings, and whenever I complained, you bought me something. She shook her head. I didn't need another expensive phone. I needed you to sit with me. Christover lowered his eyes. I was lonely before Michael ever came into my life. Silence filled the room. Then she said the words that finally broke through his anger. You were never there when I needed you, and now that I finally found someone who makes me happy, you took him away from me. Christover opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Ella turned toward the door. I don't want anything from you. Ella, please leave me alone. She walked upstairs. For the next several days, Ella barely spoke. She refused most of her meals and spent hours inside her room. Christover tried speaking to her. She wouldn't answer. He would leave food outside her door. Sometimes it remained untouched. The mansion that had always felt quiet now felt painfully empty. One night, Christover stopped outside Ella's room. He heard her crying. He stood there silently. He wasn't thinking about Michael. He was thinking about his daughter. How long had she been this lonely? How many times had she needed him while he was busy making money for a life she wasn't enjoying? Christover eventually walked away and entered his private study. He closed the door. For several minutes, he simply stood there. Then his eyes fell on an old wooden box sitting inside a cabinet. He hadn't opened it in years. He pulled it out and placed it on the desk. Inside were old photographs. Christover picked up the first one. A much younger version of himself stared back at him. He was thinner. His clothes were simple. There was no expensive watch on his wrist, no luxury car, no mansion. Just a young man trying to survive. Christover stared at the photograph. Then another memory came back. A time when he had walked into a place looking for work and been laughed at because he couldn't afford decent clothes. Another memory followed. Someone telling him that people like him would never amount to anything. He sat down slowly. His fingers tightened around the photograph. For years, Christover had tried to forget that young man. But that night, he couldn't. He looked at his younger face and whispered, I used to be him. And suddenly, Michael's face came to his mind. Christover remained in his study for a long time, staring at the old photograph in his hands. He remembered the years when he had nothing. There were days he could barely afford a proper meal. He had taken whatever honest work he could find, saved small amounts, and kept pushing because he wanted a different life. But getting there had not been easy. He remembered people laughing at his clothes. He remembered being turned away from places because he looked poor. He remembered the way some wealthy people spoke to him as though his poverty made him less of a human being. Then he remembered Ella's mother. She had met him during those difficult years and never treated him like he was beneath her. She had loved him when he had no mansion, no expensive car, and no impressive name. Christover slowly lowered the photograph. For years, he had hated people who judged him because of where he came from. Yet, he had done exactly the same thing to Michael. He had looked at a mechanic and decided that the man wasn't good enough for his daughter. Christover closed his eyes. What have I done? The following morning, he made one phone call. Michael was released, but Christover didn't send an assistant to handle it. He went himself. When Michael saw him, he immediately became cautious. Sir, Christover stopped a few steps away. I owe you an apology. Michael said nothing. Christopher continued. I treated you badly. I judged you because of your work and because you come from a different background. Michael looked at him carefully. I understand that you were trying to protect your daughter. Christopher nodded. But I went too far. There was a short silence. Then Christopher asked, tell me honestly, what do you want from Ella? Michael took a breath. I love her. Christopher remained quiet. But I don't want her money, Michael continued. I have never wanted it. What if being with her means destroying her relationship with me? Michael looked down for a moment. Then I would rather walk away. Christopher studied him. You would? Yes, sir. Michael's voice was calm. I love Ella, but I don't want her to lose her father because of me. Something changed in Christopher's expression. For the first time, he wasn't looking at Michael as a mechanic. He was looking at him as a young man who genuinely cared about his daughter. Come home with me, Christopher said. Michael looked surprised. To your house? Yes.
When they arrived, Ella was coming downstairs. She stopped immediately when she saw Michael. Michael? He smiled. Hello, Ella. She looked at her father in confusion. Christopher simply said, I was wrong. Ella's eyes filled with tears. I thought protecting you meant deciding everything for you, he continued. But I forgot that you are my daughter, not my possession. Ella walked toward him. You really mean that? Christopher nodded. I do. She hugged him. For a few seconds, Christopher held his daughter tightly. Then he looked at Michael. There is something else. Michael straightened. If you are serious about Ella, I don't want you depending on my money. Michael nodded. I understand. I want you to build something of your own. Christopher explained that he was willing to invest in Michael's mechanical business, not as payment for his relationship with Ella, but because he had seen how hard the young man worked. Michael hesitated. Sir, I don't want charity. Neither am I offering charity. Christopher looked at him. I'm giving you an opportunity. What you do with it will be your responsibility. Michael accepted. He worked harder than ever. With proper equipment, better organization, and the experience he had gained over the years, his small workshop gradually grew. Customers began coming from different parts of Enugu. Eventually, Michael's business became a respected automotive company. Ella remained by his side, not because he had become wealthy, but because he was still the same man she had met at that small workshop. And Christopher changed too. He began making time for his daughter. Sometimes they had dinner together without phones on the table. Sometimes Ella would sit in his office simply to talk. Their relationship, which had been damaged by years of silence, slowly became stronger. One evening, Christopher stood outside Michael's new workshop and watched him speak to one of his employees. For a moment, he remembered the young man in the old photograph, the young man who had once been looked down upon because he had nothing. Christopher smiled. He finally understood something. Money had changed his circumstances. It had built his businesses, his home, and everything around him. But it should never have changed his humanity. And perhaps that was the greatest lesson his daughter had ever taught him. Moral of the story: never judge someone by what they have today. The person you look down on because they have little may possess the character, discipline, and courage that money can never buy. And sometimes, the greatest mistake a person can make is forgetting where they came from.
Thank you so much for watching this story to the very end. I hope it touched your heart or gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed it, I would truly appreciate if you will leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more unforgettable stories like this. Until the next story, take care, and may every story leave you with something worth remembering.